First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liaoming. Homage to Master Sakyak Zengkong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dubden Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today. Yamantaka Heruka Vidyaraja. Simu Tansen Gatso Duten City. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all fellow disciples, and here and over the internet. Good afternoon. How do you do? Aisteru Sarange. Hola amigo. Te quiero mucho. Sugoin. Ichiban. Kimochi. Jumi. Yappy. Bling bling. Konnichiwa. Now I would like to announce next Sunday, December 27th at 3 p.m. there would be Golden Mother Homa fire offering ceremony. We all know about Golden Mother. To Buddha school, without Golden Mother, there will not be Grandmaster Lu. Without Grandmaster Lu, there will not be True Buddha school. Without Golden Mother, it's the same as nothing would exist. We all go home. No ordination, no masters, no reference, no upasaka, no upasaki, nothing. So Golden Mother is the origin of True Buddha school. So for this deity, whether you want to become primary supplicant or not, it's go ahead. Up to you. In English, go ahead. So go to your head, translate it into Chinese. Go. Of course we know everything is voluntary. You have to remind me? Come on. I was just trying to translate go ahead. Literally, it's like go to your head, but in Chinese that means get out of here. And the next announcement, it's by the Rainbow Temple. Special announcement. It's written here. What? 是传统追思的美德。由于疫情的关系，无法亲自前来拜祭安奉。Due to coronavirus, we have to close our columbarium from visit. So no visitation hours. So Rainbow Temple provide a service to worship or pay homage and make offerings to the ones enshrined, to the ones placed at the columbarium. So in 2021, the first Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m., there would be the white ritual or the red ritual, white ritual for the deceased and the red ritual for extending life. And on January 31st, there would be a repentance ceremony. So you can register yourselves. The place is columbarium, the Twin Lotus Columbarium. Time, March 31st, 2021. March 31st, 2021. There would be the Great Compassion Repentance Ceremony. And the first Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m. The first Wednesday of the month at 2 p.m. there would be the white ritual and red ritual, which is sutra chanting for the deceased or sutra chanting to extend lifespan. So the Rainbow Temple Twin Lotus Columbarium, you provide online registration. It starts on December 16. So you can check the Rainbow Temple website for details. Rainbow Temple Columbarium Blessing registration forms available on the Rainbow Temple website. So for those placed at the columbarium, there are rituals, the white rituals, red rituals, and also the Great Compassion Repentance Ceremony. That's very rare. So for the deceased, they would be due to the repentance ceremony and all these rituals will be able to improve their position, their birth position. And for us, it would increase our own fortune and merits. That's a wonderful thing. So today we perform Yamantaka Homa. Last week I was talking about the light of Yamantaka. There was a book that especially talked about Yamantaka, and the title of the book was The Light of Yamantaka. It was published in Taiwan and all over the world, in Chinese, many different revisions. And after I talk about it, many people have read it too and reported from all over the world. Many people have read this book, The Light of Yamantaka. And last week we talked about it, and this week anybody read it? We don't have this book here. Check online if this book is available. Master Lian Zi from Canada bought this, The Light of Yamantaka. It's a book that talks about Yamantaka. Tantric Master Relo Tojecha. There was a temple that had the remains, the bone remains of Relo Tojecha, especially practice Yamantaka and experience many miraculous, marvelous things, and it was all written in this book. So she gave it to me. Do we have it in our library? In Taiwan, Lijiang Temple, there are two books. And also available online. And Grandmaster has read the whole book. Any of you that have read it? Raise your hand. And you can read it online. There are many miraculous, wonderful stories, and you should read it. Then you could understand how great Yamantaka is. Everyone should read that. Yamantaka Power, the title of the book. They call it Yamantaka Power. And the main deity at the Heruka Hall in the Rainbow Temple is Yamantaka. Master Lien Yin, have you read the book? No. But the main deity of the Heruka Hall is Yamantaka, and you have not read this book? So you're responsible to buy these books and then give it to all the resident monks and nuns of Rainbow Temple. Because the main deity is Yamantaka, right? And it's a huge and powerful deity with many heads and arms and legs. It's boundless power. He has boundless power and majestic power. My first protector was Yamantaka, and the second protector was Akalanata. When I invoke him in my own room, and the feet, the legs can stir the water of all the 4 major oceans and the rivers, 3 rivers, which means all rivers. So really boundless, majestic, formidable power. So when Yamantaka descended, it turned my body and mind. I became very powerful and ferocious. I could just break down all the walls. My whole body jumped. My head almost hit the ceiling. Such power. It was truly tremendous. He was my first protector, Yamantaka. Tremendous power. If you read that book, you would know. And just now I also said that his original place is the instruction wheel of Amitabha Buddha, because at that time Yama king killed many people then. So Manjusri Bodhisattva entered into the body of the Yama king and transformed into Yamantaka. So 2 origins. He's also the instruction wheel of Amitabha Buddha. And also the transformation body of Manjusri Bodhisattva entering into the Yama king. That's why he's also called the deity or the venerable one who subdued Yama. Om Yamantaka, Hom Pe, Om Tsri Kalalupa, Hom Kan Soha. The mantra and the mudra in the center, the index finger, the middle fingers, many arms, many heads, many legs. Before the Dharma teaching, I would like to share a joke. I asked the great master, Master, I heard that you're very accurate in your prediction. Can you tell my fortune if I would become a high official? Many of my college classmates became directors and even ministers. Do I still have a chance now? The master replied, looking from your face, yes, you can. You can become a parent. In Chinese, they all rhyme. You know, the head of the head of a cabinet, the head of a department, and he's the head of a family. Yesterday, my wife told me, "Do you know why you met me? The husband replied, "I don't know." And the wife said, "Because I am a goddess coming down to earth to repay your generosities." And the husband just glanced to his wife and said, "It's better if you just go back, because I feel like you're not paying my generosities but pay revenge." Yeah, many women claim that they are also goddesses coming to earth, but actually, when they hit earth, it's their faces that hit the earth first. There was this joke. And one beautiful lady, all the men replied, "Sure. Why do you want beautiful lady?" "Because we already have an ugly one at home, so of course you want the beautiful one." It's a joke. Why everybody likes beautiful lady? Because we already have the ugly one. Okay, now get back into the topic with question and answer. From Australia, 电话佳音。Do you pronounce this character as Yun? The radical is a girl and the cloud next. 一心顶礼根本上师。 Wholeheartedly homage to the lineage root Guru. In Grandmaster's book 275, Fifth Teachings to the Path of Liberation, in the supplication for the blessings of living Buddha Liansheng, you mentioned that chanting this supplication before each Dharma practice, it will generate merits as deep as the ocean and Dharma power as high as Mount Sumeru. So could we please add this supplication prior to each group practice before the root Guru mantra recitation 7 times? Thank you for your teaching. Actually, the supplication verse should be chanted before each tantric practice. You supplicate Guru Padmasambhava. There is also supplication verse for Guru Padmasambhava, or that belongs to the Kagyu school, Nyingma school, Gelug school, or Sakya school. You want to supplicate the names of the lineage gurus, and also the supplication verse for all deities. Supplication verse should be chanted in the very beginning when you are invoking the deities to descend. So, Lianhua Jiayin from Australia. So, in our school, in our Dharma practice, in chanting sutra, we do chant the supplication verse. However, before the Dharma practice, actually you should chant the supplication verse. In Tantric Buddhism, yes. After you chant the supplication verse, then there would be a formal start. Yes, we can add this piece. Yes, we can add this piece. Because at the beginning of each Dharma practice, you always supplicate, right? This is also very important. I have said it. The merits as deep as the ocean and Dharma power as high as Mount Meru. Just like Grandmaster before a Dharma teaching, I would call on the lineage gurus of the lineage. And what does it mean? First is the respect toward the lineage. Second, before a Dharma teaching, you have to call on the lineage gurus, which is the same as supplicating the lineage gurus. The Venerable Monk Liao Ming, homage, and homage to Master Sakya Zengkong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dubdan Tarji. Those are the lineage. And that's also supplication verse for Tribuddha school. Second question from Indonesia. Si Lian Yi, Venerable Dharma teacher, the precious Grandmaster Amitabha, I am asking on behalf of a fellow disciple. I believe in a true Buddha disciple who stated that he or she was a psychic and he gave me many things such as food, talisman, Dharma implements, statues, etc. I did not know that he or she worshipped ghosts, so I did not know and accepted those things. Now what should I do with this stuff? It turned out that the psychic was worshipping ghosts and give this venerable. It's been asked before. Now it's clear. So some psychic with ghosts that give you lots of things, then just send them to Grandmaster. Put them in a package. Send them to Grandmaster. I would accept and purify them. So all the filthy energy on these things, you know, ghosts have all this filthy energy that would attach to the food, talismans, statues, the Dharma implements. And they sometimes give statues of Guan Yin that looks really beautiful. Or Tanka, give you Tanka that look beautiful. Dharma implements that can still be used. So send them to Grandmaster, and Grandmaster just cleanse them from all the filthy energy and then purify them. Then the statues and the Dharma implements, after being purified, can still be used. And then we give them to the Seattle Lichang Temple, the Buddhist shop, and they can sell them again. If you don't send them back, it would be really troublesome. According to what I know, a chapter in New Zealand, after someone with ghosts came to that chapter, the chapter is never at peace or at, and many other chapters in Australia too. There are always problems there. People killing themselves, people losing their minds. It's very difficult to save those who kill themselves. I could only Bardo deliver them. Those who lose their minds, those who are disturbed continually. In Indonesia, there was a chapter, Lamdre, it's called Lamdre chapter. Has it been closed now? Still open? Did she close it? No more activities. No more activities there. She did not close the chapter, but there's no more activities there. So the ghosts which give her a statue of Kuan Yin to that chapter, and her daughter fell. You know? Yes? He fell? You know everything. The daughter of Master Lamdre. Did you see her fall? Master Lamdre's daughter? You saw her fall? I met her. So after the witch, the ghost witch gave the statue of Kuan Yin, the daughter fell and died or something, and she lost. She's in troubles now. Things that she give, places that she give things, then there would be people died or mentally disturbed. Actually, you really have to be careful. The ghost witch is teaching Grandmaster what is the right thought. What is the right thought of right mind? So as Buddhists, we should worship Buddha. Buddhists
人间的信仰的一些神，也不皈依的。
Don't even take refuge in the gods that are common in the local beliefs.
只能够皈依佛菩萨。
Buddhists should only take refuge in the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That's why we chant Namo Buddhaya, taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. We cannot take refuge in the just ordinary gods or ghosts. And you did something about ghosts. The 5 major ghosts, the names are
是中村一郎，渡边一郎，中村一武，然后小林，什么林良知、黄金钱，对不对？黄金钱、林良知、小林，这个中村一武。
The names of the ghost.
这是什么果？这是什么？这是什么蛙果？
What the heck are these?
日本人，3个日本人，2个
3 Japanese ghosts and 2 Chinese ghosts.
搞什么鬼？
What the heck was she doing? In Chinese, what the heck is like what the ghost. And she's really into ghost. So she's teaching us so that we have the proper thoughts. And she even sculpt statues and treat them like protectors. Oh my gosh, she's really gone into the devil's path. And places that she's visited, places that she's given something, all have problems. And people kill themselves, people lost their minds, become mentally disturbed. So send them back to Grandmaster. And I will give it to the Buddhist shop. From Indonesia, Cirebon, Lianhua Chen Xiuqin, director of the Indonesia Wen Dao Li Zhang Temple in Cirebon. Amitabha, Grandmaster. Gratitude. Grandmaster, once you said that cremation is the best. After cremation, what should one do with the ash? Where should we sprinkle it? Or should we place it in a columbarium at the temple? There was a Dharma sister who left a sarira upon her cremation, and it's enshrined at home. To our surprise, it grew larger like a blue glass. Very beautiful. Is this a proper way to store sarira? This was asked by the head director of the Wen Dao Li Zhang Temple in Cirebon, Indonesia. Cremation is the best. Where should we sprinkle the ash? It's best to place the ash at the Twin Lotus Columbarium of the Rainbow Temple. Do you know that the Twin Lotus Columbarium at the Rainbow Temple, during the building of it, there were so many lights appeared. At the construction site, that the ground radiated lights, lots of brick, lots of huge lights, thousands of auspicious rays.
有相片为证。
And there are photos as proof.
这个 piano 上师，
And Master Piano,
连琴上师，他负责盖这个。
he was responsible for the building of the Twin Lotus Columbarium.
这个 Sakura 上师。
And Sakura.
联音联音教授师差不多了，联音教授师也等于是。
Master Sakura is about Dharma educators about the same as Master. Acharya is Dharma educator is Acharya.
联音联音这个 Sakura， 你看。 双年境界盖的时候啊，拍了多少
So when
光芒出来
we built the Twin Lotus Columbarium, there was so much light emitted. And my mother was placed there. My ancestors, my grandfather, grandmother, my younger brother, my mother were all placed there, and I would be placed there too in the future. And you ask where? Of course there is best. It's the geometry formation of a seashell, which is kind of concave, in a concave shape. The shape of the ground is a concave like a seashell. The temple has a columbarium too. Of course, our columbarium is on a seashell-shaped ground. Of course, you can put it in your columbarium too. And you can enshrine it at home, at the altar at home. So this is the rainbow lights that happened, that occurred at the Rainbow Temple. And the blessed place to place ash, of course, is the Twin Lotus Columbarium of the Rainbow Temple. And the ash and the bone do not need visa to come to America and can become a permanent resident here. They are approved right away. And then you would become permanent resident of America. It's not easy to get a permanent residency or citizenships here, but once you are cremated, you would become a permanent spirit residence here. Of course, Indonesia is not that good. So the Twin Lotus Columbarium at the Rainbow Temple would be best. Of course, it's fine to place it at your columbarium of your temple. But there was a Dharma sister who got a sarira. When she passed away, she must have attainment. And it grew larger to look like a blue glass. That must be very beautiful. Like a blown glass, blue. And if you place it at your own altar at home, and then her descendants worshipping it or paying homage to them, it will be fine too. The police officer was by the park and got a drunkard caught by the policeman, and he was about to be tested for alcohol, and he went into the park and joined the group that were dancing there, but he could not follow the dance steps. So the policeman immediately noticed and seized him, captured him. And then there were two other elderly men and women dancing in the park, and said, "What? If you don't dance well, you would be caught." Actually, because of the drunk driving. I would like to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. On Christmas Eve, there was a girl that called her boyfriend far away and was saying that, "Let me just pack myself and then send it to you." And the boyfriend said, "No, that's too expensive, precious and heavy." But she said, "I'm not that precious." But the boyfriend said, "That would be too expensive because you're so heavy." It's also Christmas time. The judge was happy and asked the accused, the defendant replied, "What did you do? What bad things did you do?" And he said, "Oh, because I shopped a little bit earlier this year." And the judge said, "Nothing wrong with that. How early was it?" And the defendant replied, "Oh, before the shops were open." So he got in before the shops were open. A coworker asked a little kid, "Hey kid, what's your zodiac?" And he replied, "I chicken egg." "How comes you're a chicken egg?" And he replied, "Because my mom is a chicken and I'm her son, so of course I'm a chicken egg." Now we'll expound on Lamdre, the third instruction on the path of abandoning personal loss. The verse in quote, "Mara and deviant paths, etc." End quote. For a yogi who knows about starts of affinities, he knows that everything arises due to the start of affinity of the mind qi, which becomes the cause for walking the path, as in the verse in quotes, "Comprehend one's own path and start of affinity." End quote. It is like a bridge over narrow cliffs or a boat to carry us over. They are necessary. Therefore, by recognizing that everything is for meditation, one eradicates the hindrances of quiet contemplation, and by recognizing afflictions, one eradicates demonic obstructions. The verse in quotes, faults obtaining merits, end quote, is the instruction to understand the obstruction and obtain merits. Value it. This piece is easy to explain. The first piece is to know that all attainments, the previous excerpt was knowing that all attainments come from our own mind chi, which is our own mind or thoughts and our own chi combined together. And the father and mother inside the body, which are the water and fire. By knowing all this, that the fact that we have attainments is because of the chi channels, light drops, and inner fire. You have attainments due to this. And then this excerpt, instruction on the path of abandoning personal loss. Let me summarize it. Primarily, it talks about what is it that obstructs you from meditation. You need to recognize them. If you cannot enter meditation, if you cannot meditate, why? Because the afflictions obstruct you, because your thoughts are impure. It's because your chi is not enough, because your fire and water cannot merge together. By knowing all these obstructions, then you would increase your wisdom. If you can understand these obstructions or hindrances to obstruct your meditation, then you have the water and fire merging together and to open all the channels to radiate light, to eliminate all the obstructions. That's the way to enhance your wisdom. So faults to obtain merits. So by recognizing the faults, you would be able to obtain the merits. So the instruction to understand the obstructions and obtain merit. That's why you have to value it. If you cannot meditate, you need to know what are the obstructions. By knowing them, you can eliminate the obstructions. Then you have merits. Then you will have attainments. Chi channels, light drops. What are the obstructions? What are their obstructions? By knowing them, you eliminate them. Then chi can flow smoothly in all channels. Your light drops can descend. Your inner fire can ascend. And the two of them can merge and to open all the channels and chakras and to radiate light. Of course, you will encounter obstacles and obstructions. Like you try to flow into the channels, but the channels are blocked, there would be obstructions. Or you don't have enough light drops, that's also a hindrance. Or if the fire is too blazing too much, that's also a hindrance. And then if the fire is not pure, it's impure, that's also a hindrance. So you know. So comprehend your own path and start of affinity. You already know how to enter meditation, how to eliminate the obstructions and hindrances. Therefore, all the obstructions are transformed into merits. Faults to obtain merits. So, this is the instruction to understand the obstructions and obtain merits. So value it. This piece is very important. For example, like Mara and deviant paths, etc. Like when you practice meditation and you get off the correct path, and you're being disturbed by Mara, like or devils or ghosts. If they come disturbing you, those are all obstructions. And there are many deviant paths along our spiritual cultivation path, which is the side path or off the paths. Anything that's not the proper or the right thoughts or mind are all considered deviant paths. For a yogi who knows about the starts of affinities, he knows that everything arises due to the start of affinity of the mind qi. Mind is your thoughts, and qi is your body. What do we have inside our body? We have qi, water, fire, earth, and the qi is wind. Earth, water, fire, wind. Four elements. Your body is comprised of these 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and wind. The inner fire is fire. The water is light drops. Wind is the qi, or breath. And earth is the channels. So the qi channels and light drops is the same as the earth, water, fire, and wind. So you use the basic elements of your body to practice. And then by recognizing the obstructions of these elements, so the channels have to be open and smooth. The qi has to be full and robust. The light drops has to be pure and transparent. And the inner fire too. And the inner fire and light drops, which is the fire and water, or father and mother, can be intermingled or merging. And then let them open all the channels, then you can generate or emit light. And the Dharma nature, the intrinsic original Buddha nature will appear by itself. So this excerpt is talking about this. Today we went to the Xingtian Gong or temple in Taipei. And then when I was going to the bathroom, I passed by a soothsayer, and the fortune teller called on me and said, "Hey, let me tell you." And I replied, "I don't remember any soothsaying." And then he said, "You have to believe me. Hey, your zipper is open." Christmas is around the corner, the 25th. children hang their socks outside their windows, waiting for Santa Claus to give them gifts. And Xiaoming is no exception. So he took his own sock off his feet and then hang it by his bed. At midnight, Xiaoming was sleeping soundly and he heard a loud cry. And he thought it was a thief, and it turned out Santa Claus was on the ground, on the floor. In Taiwan, you dial 119. Here we call on 911. And the ambulance came and carried the foaming Santa Claus, and he just mumbled and said, "Whose sock was that? So stinky." So you have to wash your socks clean too, O Mani Bear Mi Hum.